brought up, there's many schools across the nation, but we just want it temporarily taken out until we can get further information to you on this.
Mr. McAllister, why don't we let Mr. King and Mr. Pollock, the superintendent here, get together and work this out?
Okay.
And see what
See if we can get it taken
resolution,
for temporary till we can get some more
see what
information.
kind of resolutions we can make. And I do thank you for coming and giving me some presentation on that.
Thank you.
Ms. Wall.
I would like to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Is this a mandatory requirement? Or
Reading of novels is what we do.
This particular text?
This particular text is not mandatory. The teachers pick several novels throughout the school year that the students are exposed to. This happens to be one particular novel that has been selected by the teacher. And until just this year, it has not ever been challenged. So it has been challenged, and again, when Mrs. Walker came to me, I immediately went to the teacher in question and said, we have this issue. It would be in our best interest to remove the student. The other concerned parents have not, to my knowledge, and if they have, and it's been in passing, I apologize, but I do not recall another parent asking me specifically to remove their child from that novel and giving them an alternative.
Well, I just want to clarify whether or not it's required that a student in that class must read this particular textbook.
No,
book.
It is not a requirement, sir.
And should they not want to, that they could read another book?
We have alternative novels for those students. And what I shared with Mrs. Walker, my only concern is if we do that, and we can only do so many novels. I mean, the teachers have a list. I'm not opposed to doing whatever. Mr. Polly and I will, I'm sure, have discussions. And if whatever is the board's pleasure and the superintendent's pleasure, I'll do my best to make sure that that happens. There are probably a couple folks in the audience that would like to speak out in support of the book, but I don't know that that's appropriate. And that's one of the controversies you have at an elementary school.
I understand it, sir. No, I just wanted to clarify because
it is not mandatory, no, sir.
Ms. Walker, I think I heard that someone had said if you don't read it now, you have to read it in the future, and I just want to clarify that.
That's what the teacher had spoke to us and some of the other parents said if they didn't read it now, they would have to read it. Because what they did, they moved my son into another classroom during that reading block. He's got a particular reading block. And as he's moved, she said that they will read it because this book, I guess they've just got so many of them, and after this class reads it, it goes to, and they just circulate the books.
Right.
And if he doesn't read it now, he will read it in the reading group eventually.
But I want to, once again, Mr. King, is that true?
That is not true. And I shared with Mrs. Walker when she said, when she asked me to remove him, I have no desire for that child to read the book until mom feels that it's appropriate, if she ever feels it appropriate.
Okay.
Thank you. We have Thomas Ramey, who's been a former board member, wants to speak to us for a couple minutes.
Good to be with you.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. I don't have a prepared speech here today.
Thomas,
Unlike,
would you
sure. Unlike the students and Mr. McAllister. I've been in contact with Mr. McAllister over the last couple weeks in regards to the new school in the Harts area. I started out as a board member working on this project because I felt as if it would be an investment in the community. And when we got to the bidding process to open the bids and look at the companies and how much money they gave or put into the bids, it was very alarming to me to see that the lowest bidder was $750,000 lower than second place, and as Gary indicated, the others were so close. What I'm here today is just to let you know that people in the Harts area are concerned about not only the quality of the facility, we're also concerned about making sure that local people have the jobs for this facility. If we are able to employ local people at this location and we pay local people, that money goes back into our communities and it turns over different times, not only to help the community tax-wise, but also small business. When I looked at the differential from first place to second place, what I was concerned about was the fact that we have to pay prevailing wages on this facility. And everyone bid on the school based on the same size. So unless this low bidder was looking at not paying prevailing wages, or they were going to use substandard products, I felt that there would be no way that a company could undercut the others by such a margin that Radford and Radford was able to do. And I also realize that a lot of school boards go with the lowest bidder, but I would urge you to go not only with the lowest bidder, but go with the lowest qualified responsible bidder. And I do not think that Radford and Radford is the most responsible or qualified. And I know that each of you care deeply about making sure that this facility is built quality, but also if possible by local workers. So I'm just here today to stand with these guys. I know that Larry indicated he's been a member of a union since he was 21. Well, I lived in a household under a father who's been a member of the UMWA my entire life, so I think I was born a union member. So anytime that we can stand together and stand for local workers, we should do so. So I just am here today to stand with these guys and urge you to stand up to the school building authority and let the school building authority that we do not believe that this company can build the kind of facility that we can be proud of. We want a facility that mirrors what Lincoln County High School is. Lincoln County High School is something to be proud of, and I do not want us down the road to find ourselves making up a $750,000 difference 5 to 10 years down the road. So that's what I'm here to say. Thank you.
Make it short, ma'am, because
Well-
you haven't signed in.
I'm so sorry, but I didn't know this was going to come up at this meeting, but my child is also in 5th grade and is reading this book. I spent the weekend reading it in its entirety. The book does speak of some of the things that they did say, but the book in its essence, as what the author intended, was speaking against these things. That life is sacred and it's wonderful, and it talks about that in its entirety. I just would like to make the statement that I found it as a parent very appropriate, and I'm very picky about what my kid reads.
Okay, thank you. We want to thank everyone for coming, but if you would like to stay, you're more than welcome to stay, but we'd be going on to the rest of the agenda. And if you would like, if you're tired standing or sitting, this would be a good time for you probably to.
Folks, there are refreshments. Please help yourselves. Thanks for coming out.